Hey everybody, this is Andy, aka Love Retro BTW, across Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. I do a podcast every Saturday called Cafe BTW, a morning gaming podcast, a retrospective look at the wonderful world of retro gaming, from interviews to guests. Join us every Saturday, like a Saturday morning cartoon, starting at 8 a.m., 11 a.m. Eastern. Also, if you're on Twitter, please join the brand new retro gaming community, a place to share, connect, and show your love for the retro gaming community. All the links are down below. And remember, enjoy the Gamers Week podcast.
This time on Gamers Week podcast.
Speaking of which, have you ever seen the original Ronald McDonald?
Yes, creepy AF.
Oh my God, John Wayne Gacy, skinny John Wayne Gacy.
I haven't. Okay. To Google
this.
Get yourself a white van with no windows.
Holy shit.
Free hamburgers for you. There's stuff inside here. This morning, I had a mishap with my clippers shaver thing, and I am babyface Donnie right now.
Oh no!
I need to see pictures, please.
You saw a picture in the
that
Discord.
was. You're right. And I told you it was $5. That's right.
No. You pay me, and I cannot stand shaving my facial hair off. I look like a dork. I hate it. It's unnatural.
It's unnatural. It's not how God intended.
No, it's not.
How is that different, though, than normal, Donnie?
I feel more confident when I have
I'm just
facial
saying,
hair.
you look like a dork. That's what
You asshole. That was a good one.
Bazinga.
All right, I guess we just get started and see where things go. Welcome to Gamers Week podcast. Like the name says, we analyze the best, worst, and weirdest headlines of the past week in the video game industry. This is episode 77, and today is Wednesday, June 14th, 2023. Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. My name's Blue Williams, and I'll be your host for this evening, but I am not alone. As usual, I have my two fine co-hosts with me. My first co-host is a closet lumbersexual who recently set a land speed record for alpine roller coasters.
Lumbersexual, yeah.
How big is your axe, buddy?
I'm a lumberjack, and that's okay.
And my second co-host is an icon of Canadian fashion who's rumored to be working on a line of formal wear fanny packs.
Nice pack, eh? You got any maple syrup in there?
This guy knows what I'm talking about.
Everyone, please say hello to Ryan Payne, aka Retro Game Brews, and the one and only Donnie G.
Now that my sexuality is out there.
Sorry for outing you. I hope you're okay with it.
Right, I feel very exposed.
All right, well, let's get this show started with our reviews, reactions, and requests. At Mato1606 says, I always forget to write. I hope you hear it enough, but thank you so much for putting out this great content every week. I'm always looking forward to Fridays when I listen to it when I go for a walk. Always funny and awesome. Thanks so much.
Aw, thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate that.
At GoatNado says, I agree with Ryder's view. I don't play these always online single player games. Unless it's an MMO, when I pay money for a game, I own the installer and play whenever I want. If you want to play the next big Diablo game other than D2, then try Grim Dawn. And Richard King says, I'm new to the pod, but I'm sad I didn't know about it sooner. These guys are great. Now excuse me while I catch up on old episodes.
Prepare to catch up.
We apologize in advance. And now it's time for the...
Now, Lydia, favor us about your ghosts.
No. I'm sick of that subject.
Oh, Delia, lighten up.
I would rather talk about...
Deo, Deo. Monday come and me wanna vote. Day, me say 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 day. Monday come and me
Nice bongos.
wanna vote.
Thank you.
Wait a week till Monday comes. Monday come and me wanna vote. Wait till Friday to hear outcomes. Monday come and me wanna vote. Come, Mr. Gamers Week, telling me opinion. Monday come and me wanna vote. Come, Mr. Gamers Week, tally me opinion. Monday come and me wanna vote. Choose first choice, second choice, third choice, other. Monday come and me wanna vote. A beautiful bunch of nerdy thoughts. Monday come and
Nerdy
me
thoughts.
wanna
Thoughts.
vote. Hide the deadly spam bots. Monday come and me wanna vote.
Well done, buddy.
Yeah.
you.
See, now I'm picturing like an army of Ryans kind of dancing around, and one's playing the bongos and several are doing the chorus. And then there's the main Ryan out in front singing this song.
The main right.
The main one. So it's like the original, and then those are my clones that are
Right.
slightly crappier than
Right.
the original.
What's that? Is it multiplicity?
Multiplicity.
That-
Multiplicity.
Yeah,
Multiplicity.
yeah.
Should touch my peppy, Steve. So, fun fact about this, I played it for my wife, and then I went to play it again, and she was like, no, I do not want to listen to it.
Tough crowd.
Well, as you know, every Monday on Twitter, we post our VIP or very important poll. If you'd like to participate, follow us on Twitter at GamersWeekPC. Question for the week is, if you're going to participate in an epic eating contest, we're allowed to have a partner from the world of video games, who would you choose? Coming in third place is Dr. Robotnik with a meager 6.8%. Coming in second place was King Hippo with 11%. And taking this one by storm, and officially now our most lopsided poll, Kirby at 76.1%. 6.1% of you said others, so let's take a look at some of the comments from the poll. Starting up with Memento Mori said, if memory serves well, the only character that can literally eat the impossible is Obelix. So yeah, I'd go with him. Evo Anubis said, of those options, I voted for Kirby, but for real, I'd go with Persona's 5 Yoshizawa. She eats a metric ton of food.
What's the American equivalent of that?
Sheriff Sack said, Kina, they will eat literally anything and learn magic from it. JDragon272 said, can't forget Snorlax. And last up is Retro Gift Monster said, don't go for the bigger guys. That's a trap. It's always the skinny guys who can eat more. I'm going with Slender Man. So taking a look at these options. Donnie, what did you go with this week?
This one was a no-brainer. I don't want to learn from my food. I just want to hork it down and win the contest. So the person that I'm going to pay off to be my partner is none other than Kirby. He just opens his mouth and it all goes in. He doesn't do just one item at a time. Okay, I've seen GIFs. I've seen the internet. Okay, he does a multitude of things coming into his gourd at the same time. He sucks it all down with a smile on his face. So I want to win the gold championship. I'm picking Kirby.
I'm so glad that this went exactly how I wanted it to, where it's nothing but innuendos the entire time.
On this show? Nonsense. Nonsense.
Blue, what do you think?
Obviously, Kirby is the best answer. That's why he absolutely destroyed the poll. But I did want to give a special shout out to Yoshi because I thought that was the sleeper choice, kind of like Do I make this joke or not? I saw some debate in the comments between Kirby and Yoshi because one spits and one swallows. So,
no, that's not true. Yoshi does swallow.
I think they both do both, depending on the circumstances. So perhaps the debate is invalid, but yeah, obviously it's Kirby. So what about you, Ryan?
So I'm not falling for the Kirby trap because I'm going to go strictly on gameplay and in-game things. So if you're talking about the gifts that you see of Kirby, those are not in-game. So if you're talking about that, Kirby typically only can take in one item at a time, no matter how big or small. So my logic here, right?
I mean, in Kirby's defense, in the latest game, he swallows a damn car. He becomes Kirby, remember?
Right. And the thing is, though, it's only one car at a time. It's not two. And so unless you're doing a contest where you're eating like entire turkeys or something, he's maybe not the best choice. Now, in game, King Hippo in the Wii version of Punch-Out literally eats like an entire island worth of food and then takes a nap. So I'm going to vote King Hippo on this one because I've seen his prowess when it comes to eating contests. The man's he is the Joey Chestnut of whatever island he's from. So I'm going to go with King Hippo on this one. I'm going to step away from everybody else and go with the 11% because they're actually right.
I do appreciate the effort he's taking into being wrong.
Of course. How long did it take King Hippo to accomplish this feat? That's the question.
It does look like it goes to evening time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Eating contests usually have a time limit, so that's a valid concern.
Yeah, but I would say that the amount of food that he ate, I would also supplement some of that, so we would certainly speed up. So I'm a fat guy too.
All right, now we're getting into specifics to tailor to your answer. That's great. Right,
that's awesome. Right. This is my answer. This is my opinion.
It's my poll question and it's my answer.
It's my poll and I'll cry if I want to.
Say what now?
You heard him.
Yes, I did.
All right, let's move on to our patron shoutouts.
We couldn't do what we do without the help of our gorgeous patrons. Here are the generous folks supporting Gamers Week on Patreon. Number 1 Blue Sick Voice Fan, Sassy Sunny, Evil Lust, Random Retro Dude, Princess Kitty Mew Mew, Rai Secret Best Friend, Mega Retro Man, Gamatroid, Michael Lakite, Emo-esque, Bill Tucker, The Real Retro Game Brews, Fruitcake's Number 1 Stan, Ducks with Thick Thighs, Imitation Jason Bateman, Famous Original Retro Game Brews, The Real Retro Game Brews Official, Wizard of Zardoz, Pops and Dugnut, Retro Blast Pat, Great Saiyaman 81, BNT Zilla Guy, Geek With That, Johnny Boombots, Crunchy Kong, Surf Snacks, Frank Grande, Love Retro BTW, Steven Sam, Ramboski, Terry Canair, Ducks in Disguise, Jim and Colleen, Games with Coffee, Hybrid Divide, You Fall Before Me, Davey PGH, the Red Ox PDX family, including Shannon and Luke, and Zach Huge Thanks. If you like what you hear today, and we really hope you do, please consider joining us on Patreon. Your support helps cover the cost of producing the show, as well as other cool stuff we'll be doing like prizes and giveaways. You'll also gain access to our weekly patron-only bonus cast called Gamers Week Uncut, Patrons with Benefits. Visit patreon.com/gamersweek or follow the link in the show notes to learn more.
And I am back in the lead for the number of specific RGB patron names. So, taking the victory this week.
You son of a...
I still maintain it's quality over quantity.
That's what losers say.
All right, let's move on to our headlines. And our headline segment is, of course, proudly sponsored by the Retro Game Club podcast. It's a fantastic, family-friendly retro gaming podcast. In each episode, Rob and Hugh pick 2 games to play and discuss, as well as news, interviews, and other topics. Currently, they're taking inspiration from the McDonald's Chicken Nugget Tetris game and asking for your memories of fast food video game tie-ins. Send your answers to email@retrogameclub.net or follow the link in the show notes.
I mean... the most iconic one would be the Noid.
I I love that game, even though I will admit it's kind of a bad game. It's not a terrible game. It's better than people think it is, but
I'm glad you can admit that now.
I wouldn't go so far as to say it's a good game, but I loved it when I was a kid. That and the 7-Up game, Cool Spot.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Those two are the ones that immediately come to mind.
I mean, there's another one. There's Mick Kids.
Yep.
But that's really it.
Well, there's, of course, the Sneak King, like the 3 Burger King games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's something I really don't immediately think of because I like whenever that came out, like for the Xbox 360, I was just like, really? Like, no, thanks. I'm not going to cater or tailor to the fast food establishment, man. Down with them. There's no way.
Right. You've never been to Burger King.
Shut your mouth.
Isn't there a Sega Genesis game with like the McDonald's characters and stuff? Like you play as Ronald.
I thought there were a
It's a
few
platformer.
McDonald's games,
Yeah.
which, of course, will come into play later in the show.
And I'm happy to say I got my Tetris McNugget in the mail.
And how
Is it
was
everything
that?
you hoped it would be?
I'm keeping it sealed.
Like a true collector.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, before we get into the headlines, first we want to give a quick update to the Microsoft Activision Blizzard acquisition story. The U.S. Federal Trade Commission will seek a court order to stop the $69 billion deal from going through before its July 18 deadline. Responding to the move, Microsoft President Brad Smith said in a statement, today's action by the FTC to file suit in our Activision case in federal court should accelerate the decision-making process. This benefits everyone. We always prefer constructive and amicable paths with governments, but have confidence in our case and look forward to presenting it.
You smell that?
You're not right yet.
Fear. First up from BGC, Xbox Game Studio Chief says people need to realize games now take 4 to 6 years to make. Xbox Studio Chief Matt Booty has said that both games, players, and the industry in general need to realize that most big games now have development cycles of around half a decade. In an interview with Axios, Booty said, that's so terrible.
I bet he enjoyed junior high.
Yeah.
And I'd rather be a pain than a booty. I think that the industry and the fans were a little behind the curve on sort of a reset to understand that games aren't 2 or 3 years anymore, specifically referring to the high-end, big-budget games. Booty added that now there are 4 or 5 and 6 years. Booty's comments are in light of criticism faced by Xbox for the slow cadence of major releases that have blighted the platform in recent years. While Sunday's Xbox Game Showcase looks to correct that course somewhat, some still pointed out that a few of the titles shown, such as Playground's reboot of Fable, still remain undated despite being announced several years ago. The reboot of Perfect Dark, Obsidian's The Outer World 2, and Machine Games' Indiana Jones were also missing in action from the conference. While Bethesda confirmed that it was working on The Elder Scrolls 6 via a teaser trailer shown back in 2018, it's likely that the game won't release until roughly a decade following the announcement. Booty told press this week that he believes the Xbox has already turned the corner when it comes to regularly delivering first-party titles. But when we get into 2024, it really kicks into gear.
I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it at all. What it sounds like from an initial reading of this article is that he's blaming fans for being hyped for their products.
Right.
They're not keeping up with the times, man. They need to realize that games take longer to develop. I think that is glaringly obvious that games take longer to develop. But
Of course.
at the same time, these companies make a living shoveling coal into the hype train.
Right.
So are you going to turn around and then blame people because they got hyped exactly like you wanted them to when you announced these projects half a decade before they were ever going to see the light of day, if they don't get canceled in that meantime? So yeah, I'm not buying it, Matt Booty.
If you're seriously complaining about your audience hyping up your game that you just announced that they're excited for, then don't say anything.
Right.
We announced this game and they're like, oh my God, this is so great. Calm it down, people. Calm it down. Like,
Right. That's exactly it.
that's like reverse marketing. Come on. What do you, I don't get it.
And to Blue's point, I think this is a complete lack of self-ownership in this issue. You can blame the fans. And you know what? To a point, he is correct that I think fans' lack of understanding that games do require some time to bake and that your average game is going to take about 5 years. I get that. And that is the truth. But to completely take the onus off of you by not acknowledging the fact that you've got games that you're talking about that won't come out for a decade, but you're hyping them up at these conferences is a severe lack of ownership on his part. And what I think is the solution, do you not talk about these games, or do you make realistic expectations? Like if you, back in 2018 with Elder Scrolls 6, it'd be like Elder Scrolls 6 coming out in 2026.
Right.
So it's an interesting and vicious cycle. And I think one of the things that you run into is because games do take a longer time to develop, there's lulls, right? There's gaps in those releases. It's not something where you're pumping out titles every other month like you could have done in the past. So what do? Oh, you know what? We'll just fill in that space with hype, but you're creating a situation where your fan base is progressively becoming more and more disappointed with what you have to say. As an industry, I think both sides could certainly make some concessions for that. But don't put complete ownership on the fans if you're creating the situation where they're going to complain, right?
Right. Well, yeah, like it says, Booty's comments are in light of the criticism faced by Xbox for the slow cadence of major releases that have blighted the platform in recent years. It's been several years where Xbox has had nothing to show for their 23 first-party studios. Right. So while on one hand you can acknowledge that the big budget games take 4, 5, 6 years to complete. And of course, we have to make allowance for pandemic delays. But at the same time, Xbox has to admit that their new release schedule has been empty compared with Nintendo and PlayStation. So, like you said, they have to take ownership of this situation that they themselves have created.
Games are going to get more advanced. Consoles are going to get more advanced. And there's got to be a point where like it's economies of scale, right? Where a game's going to take 10 to 20 years to make. And by the time it's ready, it's on a console that can do way better than what you started off with.
That's not sustainable, I think, on a lot of levels. And while you are correct in saying that the standard that they hold themselves to with all these graphics, all these cinematics and blah, 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 you kind of wonder at this point if graphics are really still what people look forward to the most. Like I saw an argument made for Tears of the Kingdom, which it has a graphic style to it, but you would never say that, oh my God, it's so graphically realistic. And look at the way the light bounces off this puddle and blah, blah, blah. But the gameplay is great. Right. So Booty is saying that fans have not kept up with the realities of the gaming industry. Well, maybe the studios are the same way. Maybe the publishers are the same way, have not kept up with what it is that fans really want out of games.
I think one of the problems is that the one company that's doing that and has done that for years is the kiddie console, which of course is Nintendo. So there's this natural, I'm a hardcore gamer, I'm playing Nintendo mentality that if you started releasing games, the first thing that you're going to hear from people, though, is that it doesn't look like it's graphically on an Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5.
Fair. That's a fair point. At the same time, we've reached a tipping point where something has to give.
You're right.
And it doesn't have to look like that to be a great game.
It doesn't, but I think Ryan has a point in that the fanboys are going to latch onto every little thing to say why one side is better than the other.
Of course, and especially since we've had this technological advancement with processing power and graphics and whatnot, if it looks like it belongs on a PS1, PS2, people are going to say, oh, that's Nintendo. But if it looks like you're sitting right there in the movie theater, they expect that from your PS5 and your Xbox Series X now.
I think part of the reason that gamers latch onto graphics so tightly is that when these games are announced a half a decade early, graphics are all we have to go on.
It's true.
It's not like we can say, well, it looks kind of funky, but the game plays really well, because we don't know. All we have to latch on for years are just graphics. So I think once again, it's this self-fulfilling cycle where this is a problem that they themselves have created. And now, while yes, of course, gamers need to learn to be patient and not demand things based on their schedule, the game should come out when they're ready. But at the same time, the developers and the publishers need to know how to better manage this hype cycle, because of course it comes to bite you in the ass.
Well put. Pretty much sums it up.
Next up, from GameIndustry.biz, college football players urged to boycott EA Sports game over low pay. The College Football Players Association is arranging a boycott over the upcoming EA Sports college football game as a protest over low pay for the athletes involved. Electronic Arts is relaunching its college football series this year and has promised compensation for any players who allow the publisher to use their names and likenesses in the game. Those who appeared in EA's previous college football series, which ended in 2013, went unpaid due to rules about college athletes receiving payment. These rules were reversed by a law passed in California back in 2019. However, college sports website ON3 reported yesterday that the cash pool amounts to around $5 million, which would equate to just $500 per player. Sportico reported the same figures, adding that there will be no royalties for players. Justin Falcinelli, vice president of the College Football Players Association, is now urging athletes to boycott the game and turn down EA's offer, claiming the publisher is exploiting these players. All current players should boycott this deal. It is just a ridiculously low amount of money, he told ON3. According to Falcinelli, NFL players are paid tens of thousands of dollars to appear in EA's Madden series, with one athlete telling him they received $28,000 to star in this year's game. College players should not participate in this. It is a simple cash grab to just try to get you for the lowest amount possible. And it's one-team partners in all these organizations that don't really represent the player's best interest, Falcinelli said.
I think we kind of called this. The last time we talked about it, I mean, we joked around that you were going to make $17, but
right.
$500 ain't that far off from $17.
It's kind of funny, right? Because it's all a matter of perspective. $28,000 for an NFL player is nothing. And $500 for a college kid is a massive amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
But considering how much EA stands to make with these games, $500 is just a little bit insulting. Now, if you're the third string punter, this is probably the most money you'll ever make for your likeness, let's be honest.
Of course.
So maybe you should just take it. But kind of like we talked about before, the colleges make so much money off of these kids that say, oh, no, you can make money now. Here's your $500. That seems terribly unfair.
How does the college get paid, right? Because the college they get paid for their name and their likeness. That's going to be several thousands of dollars, or maybe hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands. So $500, come on.
I will say this, though, that you can get $28,000 if you're in the NFL. One of the things that you run off of that is that there are considerably less teams in the NFL. So that pool of money is probably divided considerably less. But that being said, at the end of the day, they're already getting paid for their career. They have a contract. They have money. So $28,000 is just like a perk, right?
Right.
Where these college kids, this is a means of income. This is almost just like a look at us, look what we did. We're doing something for them. Yeah, it's not a lot, but hey, we're paying them back.
Right. Here's these breadcrumbs. Aren't you grateful?
Right.
Yeah.
And then they'll be able to put into a press release that they're, we're partnering with the NCAA and we're really providing these players with the due recognition that they deserve and blah, 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 blah. So it doesn't seem to me like it's anything more than just a PR move.
Of course.
And that's a shame, because a lot of these kids too probably can't afford a lot, and that $500 are going to take it. And their likeness is going to generate millions of dollars for that company, for EA.
Well, yeah, because the vast majority of them are never going to go pro, and they have a chance to say, I was in a video game.
Right.
And I got paid for it. That's pretty cool.
It is cool. But at the end of the day, they deserve more than that, I think, than just $500.
I agree, though.
Okay. I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Do it.
Do it. I firmly believe that the NCAA games are not as popular as the major league games that come out. Are there a lot of people out there who really care about college sports on a video game system that they're going to be like, I gotta have this game. I'm gonna live and die by this game, man. And
Cousin Lawrence, though, does love his NCAA football.
But what I'm saying is paying maybe $5,000 per player when there's all these different college teams. And I'm thinking we're just strictly speaking of D1. So $5,000 per player and all these teams. I don't know if that's feasible enough for them to have that. To whenever they get the revenue that comes in for these games, they're not going to be making that much. The developers per se.
I will play reverse devil's advocate for that.
Ooh.
Uno.
Plot twist.
So one of the things that growing up in Rochester, we were really close to Buffalo. So NFL sports was huge. Moving to the South, a lot of times I'll ask people, what's your favorite NFL team? They're like, I don't really have it. I focus on college. So depending on where you live and your experience with sports, NCAA football may be your game of choice.
Of course.
I think you're both right. I think that if the NCAA football games were that successful, they wouldn't have ended the series in 2013. They'd have found a way to keep it going.
True.
But at the same time, I would probably also say that lots of people will be into this. And so if you're really going to revive this series and give it the best chance, you should probably do what it takes to make sure that it can stay viable. And that includes forking over a little extra money, not as much as the NFL players, but more than $500 so that you can have the players that people want in the games. And maybe a compromise is to say that every school gets this much money and let the school distribute it how they see fit. I don't know, but
I like that idea.
You got to do something better than this.
Some nerd somewhere with a calculator went, we got $500 million budget or $5 million budget. How many players? Ipsos facto, divide 500. There we go.
I'm sure that's how it happened.
That's how it usually happens.
All right, next up from the street, McDonald's taps into serious video game nostalgia for Grimace's birthday. McDonald's has largely shied away from using the McDonaldland characters it introduced in the 70s and 80s, largely because, to put a fine point on it, people find clowns creepy. So Ronald McDonald and company have largely been pushed to the side. But even with McDonald's de-emphasizing its mascots, Grimace never really went away. Because of his appearance, tall, purple, both jolly and vaguely menacing, original role as a villain, he was always stealing your shake back in the day, and the character's completely inexplicable vibe, he's long remained a fixture of pop culture fascination. Grimace was created in 1971 to an extent that a power such as Grimace can be measured by mere human time. While 52 isn't normally a big birthday, any excuse to celebrate Grimace is worth taking. The new Grimace Shake arrived June 13th, which McDonald's describes as a purple berry-flavored shake with a whipped topping. But there's no such thing as making too big of a deal about Grimace, so now McDonald's has gone even more retro by commissioning design studio Cruel Toys and Gumpy Function to make a brand new Game Boy Color game called Grimace's Birthday. In the game, our dude will skateboard through McDonaldland while collecting purple milkshakes and searching for his fellow mascots so he can hold a birthday blowout, as is only right. The game can be played on a browser, a computer, or on a mobile device through a very GeoCities-style website. So go party and have a good time. It's what Grimace wants for you.
Limited run games. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So when I saw the tweet for this, I clicked on the link to go to the game, and I thought I clicked on like a suspicious website because it does look like it's GeoCities, like mid-1990s. I was like, oh, this doesn't look quite right. So yeah, I was a little confused. At first, I was skeptical whether this is really a thing, and then of course all the hype came out about it. So I was like, no viruses for Ryan. Great.
That you know of.
I got the Grimace virus.
I got the Grimace.
What an odd choice, though. Grimace, really? Is that anyone's favorite McDonald's character? I mean, I may be wrong on this, but...
Do you have a favorite McDonald's character?
A Hamburglar all the way.
But those are some of the three iconic ones. Okay, so from the 80s commercials, the 90s commercials, you have Grimace, you have the Hamburglar, Ronald, the Fry people, the Fry girls, Fry guys, whatever, and then the King dude, who was very creepy, King McCheese, I think his name was
Mayor McCheese.
Mayor McCheese. Who is just like, it was in the background. Nobody really cared about him, but those were the key players right there. There was there was another.
It was like a Tweety Bird one.
Yeah. That's who I was just thinking of. I can't remember her name.
I'm so amazed you guys remember these.
That's part of my childhood. Of course I remember.
Well, it's part of mine too, but like I have just like the vaguest, like fuzzy memories of these creepy things, like running around and like, I just want to eat my nuggets in peace.
Speaking of which, have you ever seen the original Ronald McDonald?
Yes, creepy AF.
Oh my God, John Wayne Gacy, skinny John Wayne
Gacy.
Gacy.
I haven't. Okay. To Google
this.
Get yourself a white van with no windows.
Holy shit!
Free hamburgers for you. Just step inside here.
Like he's wearing like a hat that is the cardboard box,
right? And his nose is a cup. Right. And like, why did they do his eyebrows like that? Holy crap! And I thought the current Ronald McDonald was terrifying. But I do think you guys have a point, because they could have made any mobile game they wanted. I mean, mobile games are a dime a dozen. You know, most everybody plays them. You could throw something out cheap and kids would be like, oh, look, I want to play the McDonald's game. But they chose to do it in a GeoCities style, like a Game Boy Color type game. And I think that appeals specifically to the generation that still remembers Grimace. Because everybody else is like, who the hell is this?
I want to play a McDonald's game. Your voiceover work is chef's kiss.
Yes.
I missed my calling, apparently.
But that's a good point, is that the people who are going to buy this and that can play this on a Game Boy Color are not going to be the kids.
Yeah, I mean, buy it when the hypothetical limited run games physical comes out. Because right now you could just play it for free. But yeah, totally. Yeah. We're the same ones that bought the damn Tetris McNuggets. So
well, and I'm going to say this. I think we got hosed. China got the better one when it comes to retro games. They got their own dedicated console playing one of the best games of all time, Tetris.
Where's our McNugget handheld that plays the Grimace game?
Ooh,
excellent question.
We demand answers. God. McDonald's.
Give me that in the old quarter pounder phone. I'd rock that. Yes.
I totally remember that.
Sad part is you'd never be able to use it because chances are you probably don't have a landline anymore.
Find a way. You could find a way to wire it into your computer or something.
Oh, I totally would. I would get a landline just for the nostalgic sake of having a quarter pounder with cheese phone, or even one of the old clear phones that lit up whenever you got called.
Right. And then every once in a while, you'd call yourself from your cell phone just to see it and hear it ring.
I tell everybody, don't call my cell phone, call my house phone.
Why hasn't like Apple or Android or whoever come out with retro versions of smartphones? I don't know that one.
Right. Vinyl players are a thing now. They're a hot thing. So can you get like a retro style landline phone?
The Sports Illustrated football phone. Come on.
Yes, absolutely.
Carry that around everywhere.
Hey, I thought I was hot back in the day because I had the Garfield phone.
Ooh, there you go. Nice. Or the Mickey Mouse phone.
Remember the Big Lips phone?
I do remember the Big Lips phone.
Man, the 80s and 90s were the
That's why I still live there, man.
Can't let go.
All right, let's move on to our top 3 new releases.
First up is F1 23. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Be the last to break in EA Sports F1 23, the official video game of the 23 FIA Formula One World Championship, featuring all the updated 2023 cars with the official F1 lineup of your favorite 20 drivers and 10 teams. A new chapter in the thrilling Breaking Point story mode delivers high-speed drama and heated rivalries. Next up is Park Beyond, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Park Beyond is a theme park simulation game that gives you the freedom to create and manage the parks of your dreams. Your combination of a creator and manager and designer wrapped up in one powerful package. Every aspect of developing and maintaining successful theme parks will be under your control. Learn as you play in campaign mode or choose how you want to play in sandbox mode. Last up is Layers of Fear 2023. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. The series left its mark on a narrative-driven first-person psychological horror game returns to tell its final spine-chilling story in Layers of Fear. The series' crowning work is the definitive way to experience the critically acclaimed franchise as it features Layers of Fear and Layers of Fear 2, as well as all the DLC and the never-before-told story. The writer, which will tie everything together, Layers of Fear supports ray tracing, HDR, and 4K resolution to make the stunning visuals and your nightmarish experience as immersive and realistic as possible. Let's take a look at these three. Blue, what are you going with this week?
This is a pretty easy choice. I don't need F123 because I already own Gran Turismo. I don't want to manage a theme park, although you, Ryan, were the first person I thought of when I saw this game. I was like, oh, Ryan will love this. Layers of Fear, though, it looks amazing. I watched the trailer for the new writer segment of it, and it just looks so cool. And this is, again, something that ports the old games forward, makes them super easy to play and accessible. So, yeah, I am all in for Layers of Fear.
Nice. Donnie, what about you?
So first off, the game that I'm not selecting is Park Beyond. I don't want to play Management Simulator. I know. I don't mean to rain on your parade, buddy. But when I think of games, I don't think of management and all that stuff. So that's out the window for me.
Right. Meeting a budget, adhering to safety guidelines. I mean, it's not supposed to be work. It's a game.
Hiring people, talking to HR. No, come on. That's real life. I want to escape from that.
Marketing, blah, 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 blah.
When I see F123, it looks promising. However, I don't own Gran Turismo. I don't own a PS5 yet. So because of this, I would probably pick up F123 on the PS4. Is Gran Turismo available for PS4? I don't think so, right?
I don't know that off the top of my head.
Okay. I mean, in a heartbeat, I would definitely choose Gran Turismo, but F123 looks promising. But that leaves us to Layers of Fear. I am all for psychological horror games. There's a bunch of them that I play, with Visage, Madison that I still need to get back to and whatnot. This is right up my alley. So I am definitely sold on Layers of Fear.
Nice.
What about you, Ryan? Tell us why you're going to love Park Beyond.
So the one I'm definitely not going with is Park Beyond.
Oh, you're so full of
No, hear me out. I love theme park, but at the end of the day, this is one of those wait and see. There have been a bunch of these that have come out. Some of them have been great. Some of them haven't. And the fact that we're kind of rehashing a already popular genre that died like 10, 15 years ago, I don't know if I'm into that. Theme park was a new thing. It was a novel concept. When you were playing it, it was interesting. There was a whole bunch of extra gameplay elements that you didn't expect. And nothing really was out there like it. Where now this is a clone of theme park. And I'm sure it's going to be great graphics and that kind of stuff. But my guess is also they're going to make it as complicated and convoluted as possible to give it more time, right? Because your average playthrough of theme park is a few hours. This probably they're looking for something like 50 hours. And to me, that just, it's a wait and see for me, at least. So despite all of your negative talk.
Not negative. We love you just as you are.
It's I'm just not that interested in it. And to be honest with you, up until today, I haven't even heard of it. So, which, brings me to F123. I'm not a big racing fan in general, especially from a sports perspective. I used to watch NASCAR as a kid, but that was only because Kodak sponsored a car. My dad worked at Kodak and he helped with some of the marketing on it. So there was like a connection there, but I just never really got into watching sports racing. The Layers of Fear, considering its high definition graphics, it includes all of the DLC, it includes both games, it includes a new section to it. I'm just picturing myself like turning the lights down, putting my headset on, playing through this game and getting the scared out of me. That sounds fantastic.
So Gamers Week stream of Layers of Fear when?
I might. You know what? Yeah.
Because I already bought Diablo 4 and Street Fighter 6, so somebody else needs to step up and buy a new game.
All right, so I'll pick it up on PC. And don't be upset with me when I scream like a little girl.
How would I be upset?
That's what everybody shows up for.
Right.
That's what gets clipped and shared and goes viral.
I'm like a jumpy person to begin with, so even the smallest things will probably make me jump.
Ooh.
Like a random touch in the moonlight.
Yeah, that would definitely freak me out, Donnie. Thank you.
Especially if your hands are cold. Try to arrange that.
All right, so like we do every single month, this month we're of course going to be doing another giveaway on behalf of Gamers Week, and this month we'll be giving away a $50 gift card to the platform of your choice. PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, or PC. So to enter the giveaway, look for @RetroGameBrews pinned tweet on Friday, June 16th. Give our Twitter account @GamersWeekPC a follow and retweet for one entry. If you want 2 more entries, comment with a picture or screenshot of you listening to episode 77 for a possible total of 3 entries. Entries will be accepted from Friday, June 16th to Tuesday, June 20th. You're already listening to the episode, so you might as well enter now before you forget. And just a reminder, the last 3 out of 4 people chose the 3 entry option and they won. So I'm just saying.
Oh, and you forgot the GeoCities platform.
Imagine how far $50 would go there.
Right?
All right, let's move on to our main topic.
From IGN, Xbox Games Showcase 2023. Everything announced. Xbox brought a ton of games to the Xbox Games Showcase 2023, giving us a good idea of what to expect on Xbox Series XS, Xbox Game Pass, and PC for the rest of the year and beyond. Unfortunately, we don't have time to cover everything from the showcase, so here are the highlights.
Xbox kicked off the show with our first proper look at Playground Games' upcoming Fable reboot. The IT Crowd's Richard Ayoade played a starring role in the trailer as narrator, maintaining the cheeky humor the series is known for. We don't know when the game is coming out, but Xbox did confirm that it's coming to Game Pass on day 1. Obsidian's long-awaited fantasy RPG Avowed finally has a release window for next year. Our first big look at the game showed caves, spiders, bears, spellcasting, sword combat, and a ton of other fantasy elements. The game is coming to Game Pass on Xbox Series X and S sometime in 2024.
Xbox boss Phil Spencer
Drink.
revealed the new 1TB Xbox Series S, which comes in black and is launching on September the 1st. Spencer said Xbox is responding to the complaints that the Series S didn't have enough storage with its new model. It will retail for $349, which is $50 more than the 512 gigabyte Xbox Series S. We Happy Few developers Compulsion Games revealed its next project, South of Midnight. This game is coming to Xbox Series X and S on Game Pass as well as PC via Steam. The teaser trailer for this game showed a mysterious character playing guitar on the river, while the main character, Hazel, is looking for a monster with teeth like knives.
Massive Star Wars game has finally been revealed, and it's called Star Wars Outlaws. The trailer shows a lot of familiar Star Wars iconography, including cantinas, a Rancor, stormtroopers, and more. Plus, there's an adorable animal companion that looks tailor-made for Star Wars toys. The game is coming to Xbox Series X and S in 2024, and it's set to be open world. We got a brand new look at Payday 3 gameplay, showing all the bank heist antics you would expect. We saw a car chase, rooftop gunfights, and plenty of tools and contraptions to help players get their payday. The game is coming to Game Pass on Xbox Series X and S on September 21st.
After multiple leaks, Persona 3 Reload is finally real, and it's coming in early 2024 to Xbox Game Pass. The gameplay showed our first look at the remake, which appears to bring Persona 3 in line with Persona 5 from a gameplay and visual standpoint. Another game that Atlas accidentally leaked early, Persona 5 Tactics, was officially announced at the Xbox Game Showcase. The game is a Fire Emblem-style tactics take on the world of Persona 5, featuring a new chibi art style. The game is coming to Game Pass on November 17. The main show ended with a look at Clockwork Revolution, a new game from inXile coming in due time. It appears to be a first-person shooter with a steampunk theme, and there were hints of time manipulation mechanics. It's coming to Game Pass on day one.
The Starfield Direct aired immediately after the Xbox showcase. Bethesda has reconfirmed that there will be over 1,000 planets for players to visit. While every planet will be filled with life-changing quests, and some will be barren besides some resources to collect, Bethesda has crafted a galaxy that is filled to the brim with places to go. Players will be able to fly through the stars on their very own ship that can be customized in a variety of ways. Space isn't always safe, and ship battles will come with the territory. Bethesda wants these combat encounters to feel exciting and dangerous, while also giving players a ton of control with a power allocation system. One of the most mysterious and surprising moments of the Direct was a glimpse at what appears to be some type of power the player character gets access to that lifts enemies into the sky as if they were in zero-G. If this tease is any indication, there could be even more Starfield than we initially thought.
I'm zero-G?
Drop the hero and get with the zero G. Word to your mother.
So after the Xbox showcase, I know a lot of the narrative online was, what game shortage from Xbox? Look at them. They killed it. They won not E3 season. They won Summer Game Fest. It was so much better than the PlayStation showcase a few weeks ago. What do you guys think? What was your impression?
That's a big no. I don't think they did better than PlayStation.
Yeah, I wasn't like, oh my God, this is the greatest showcase I've ever seen. It was good. There was a lot of reveals for it and things that we didn't know about, which is always great.
Right.
I think the Starfield gameplay element was the kind of icing on the cake for me, at least. But yeah, overall, it was good. Was it perfect? By no stretch of the imagination.
And I will say that we were watching it live in our patron-only Discord and chatting while it was live. And one of the things we talked about there was it seemed like maybe 95% cinematics and only about 5% gameplay.
Right.
And, that's the thing with gamers is these days we're always like, show us gameplay, show us gameplay, show us gameplay. And if I had one criticism of the Xbox showcase, I would say that there was a distinct lack of gameplay. But that being said, what did you guys see that you thought was interesting? What are you excited about? Tell me more.
Tell me more. Tell me more. What just games did you like? There were several games on here that I've taken a liking to, and some that we didn't even mention. There was the flight simulator, which,
really?
I don't want to turn into like a 60-year-old guy,
I know you had a mishap with your clippers, but you just aged about 30 years.
I know. It kind of looks like I've always wanted to kind of get involved with flight simulation and everything like that. And this might be like an interesting foray into it because it looks amazing. Not like the excitement, like, oh, the heart-pounding gameplay that we've come to know and love from most AAA games, but something just like relaxing and pass the time. I saw that was good. City Skylines 2, where it's just like SimCity, on a much grander scale. I don't really like those games, but it looked pretty good.
Homeboy makes fun of me for theme park and then picks the two most boring games on the entire showcase.
I'm not saying I would play Cities. I'm just saying it looks spectacular. And then Sea of Thieves, Monkey Island. I don't know how that would play out because I know how I've watched people play Sea of Thieves, and I don't know what its level of involvement would be in the whole Monkey Island environment. Like if you're solving puzzles and stuff like that, I don't think so. But that's a nice little crossover. There was another game called Jusant. It's a climbing. It's a game where you climb.
Oh, right. Climbing simulator.
That sounds super exciting.
Well, it reminds me of Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy. Right.
Yes, okay.
That game was just it. That game broke me. That game really did. So
it broke everyone.
I was never into Fable, so I can't say that the new Fable game is going to be any good. I'd have to go back and play the original ones. But I mean, there were some decent games on here. Do I think that they blew Sony out of the water or PlayStation's little event out of the water? No, not at all.
I will say, though, that I have played Fable a lot as a kid.
Okay.
Played Fable 1, played Fable 2. Is it the best RPG I've ever played? Absolutely not. But there were fantastic games. They were fun. The fact that a member of the IT crowd was narrating it instantly made me go, ooh.
Ooh.
What was that again?
Ooh. And my hope is that he's in the game and that it has plenty of fan service for the IT crowd, right? Like something like, I'll just put it down and walk away. Or have you tried turning it on and off again? Something like that. Please bring that to the forefront. But, as far as like when the game is coming out, they didn't confirm that, right?
Yeah, they've still just announced it forever ago and won't tell us when it's coming out.
Another example of the hype train coming to the station.
Right.
And
there's nobody on it.
right, exactly.
And Starfield, I don't know to be excited about this game. I really don't, because I don't know what it entails. If I'm just flying through space.
It's Skyrim in space.
Yeah, and not encountering anything, that's friggin' boring.
You heard them. There's space battles.
Well, okay, what level of space battles are there? Like, can anybody engage me at any time in a space battle and I have to fight? Or is it something I can evade and run away from with my tail tucked between my legs?
I'd imagine it's a combination.
Okay.
There are going to be fights that you can't avoid, and there are probably going to be fights that you can.
And what's an open world game if you can't go poke a stick at an enemy that's way overpowered and just to see what happens?
Right. And then run like hell.
Well, it looked like you were fighting a lot of creatures on the planets that you were on. Things that look like big spiders and stuff. So to your heart's content, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You can engage in as much combat as you want to.
Fair enough.
I got to say, I am super hyped about this, though. Starfield, to me, reminds me a lot of the gameplay of the Star Control series. Star Control was really based on a few different elements. So one of it was space battling in alliance building, which it sounds like you can do. It was upgrading your ship to being the most powerful. You get to choose what you want on it. So it was customizable, whether you wanted more storage to pick up resources or you wanted a killer gunship. It was your choice, how you wanted to play it. There was a lot of worlds to explore. Maybe not 1,000, but maybe there was in the third installment of the game.
Honestly, you lost me at alliance building.
I love those games. They're really well done. The one thing that makes them, though, is the stories and the characters that you interact with, which it sounds like Starfield's got some of that, but maybe not as much as I would like. So I'm cautiously optimistic, but to me, this sounds like a modern day Star Control. And honestly, I've always wanted a game that was like Star Control that allowed you to have, kind of in-person elements that was much more immersive than you being on a ship and navigating through star systems and that kind of stuff. You have to really put on your imagination hat, if you will, in order to become fully immersed in that game. And it sounds like Starfield might do that.
Is the imagination hat made out of tinfoil?
Often, absolutely. on holidays, you bedazzle it to make it look festive.
Nice.
Absolutely. So Starfield has got me. It's got its hooks in me, and I cannot wait for it to come out.
Nice. What are you going to play it on?
Ooh, that might be a reason to get an Xbox and maybe get the S with the 1 terabyte.
S?
Mm-hmm.
Creep me out some more.
I mean, honestly, when they showed the Series S, the new Series S in black, I was like, how you doing? You looking good.
Hey there, girl.
And $349, that's not a terrible price point. I mean, I would just use it as a Game Pass machine.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, it looks so much better in black than it does in white, let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But mainly the announcements from the showcase that got my attention was South of Midnight. I thought it was a really good little teaser, and I just wish they had given us some indication of what type of game it is. What is the gameplay? Are we talking third person action RPG? Is it a first person like shooter with magic elements? Is it a 3D puzzle platformer? What are we talking about here? We have no idea.
Is it a deliverance simulator?
Let's hope not. The other one that actually had my attention begrudgingly was Star Wars Outlaws.
I knew it. I knew it.
No,
Don't you hate Star Wars?
I do. I hate Star Wars. But it looks like Assassin's Creed in a Star Wars skin, starring female Han Solo. I want to hate it. I do. I want so bad. That little Nyx thing that the internet is going nuts over, that is just 2023 baby Yoda. I want to hate it, but it's so cute.
What the hell is going on? Ryan doesn't pick Park Simulator. You're picking Star Wars.
I don't know. I'm not sold on it. I'll tell you this. I'm not sold on it, but I don't hate it. And that says a lot coming from me.
We decided to do our April Fool's episode a little late.
June Fools.
Got him. All right, before we move on, let's take a quick break to talk about our sponsor. This segment is proudly sponsored by the Elitist Podcast. It's a show where three friends and occasional guests play games about video games, including trivia, game show games, and more. Here is this week's trivia question. When Tim Schafer went in for his interview with Lucasfilm Games in 1989, he expressed that he was a big fan of their game, Ball Blaster. This was a very serious gaffe on his part. Do you know why? Tune into the Elitist Podcast this Wednesday to hear the answer. You can find the Elitist on your favorite podcast platform, and we'll also have their links in the show notes.
So any guesses as to why this would be a serious gaffe on his part?
I have zero guesses because a game called Ball Blaster doesn't sound like it was made by Lucasfilm Games, but I don't know what the hell this is talking about.
Yeah, my guess would be redacted.
You're correct in both ways, but also kind of wrong.
All right.
Ball Blaster was
redacted.
Oh.
Oops.
Oopsies. All right, fellow kids, grab that fake ID. Make sure your Honda CRX has some gas in it. Page your friends and make sure they have beer money, because where we're going, you're going to need it. This is the Retro Rewind for June 1998. Let's take a look at the top Billboard songs and their artists for June 1998. The Boy Is Mine by Brandy and Monica.
Ooh.
Yep.
You guys remember that one?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. It played ad nauseum.
Everywhere.
And there was at least 3 or 4 high school girls who seized onto it as their anthem.
Right. This song defines me.
Uh-huh.
Justin, he's mine.
He's mine.
Nope, he's mine.
But I know Susie thinks she's his, so.
If both of you could talk like this for the rest of the episode, I'd really appreciate it.
There's Too Close by Next. Girl, you're dancing too close. You're making it hard for me.
Mr. Blue listens to that all the time. That's like his shower song.
Dancing in the Club with a Boner. You're Still the One by Shania Twain. My All by Mariah Carey. Doesn't ring a bell. I Get Lonely, Janet featuring Blackstreet. Everybody by the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
Rock My Body.
Yeah.
Yeah. All My Life by Casey and JoJo.
Oh,
My life.
no. Oh, no.
Truly, Madly, Deeply by Savage Garden. Oh, yes.
Oh, why are this song so bad this year?
Truly, Madly, Deeply, dear. Oh. The Arms of the One Who Loves You by Escape. Okay, obscure. And Sex and Candy by Marcy Playground.
Okay, that's the best song in the lineup.
That is.
And supposedly that song is about nocturnal emissions.
Farting?
No, Donnie, that's not what nocturnal emission means.
Oh, sorry.
Different kind of emission.
Oh my God. I'm sorry.
But it sounds like Donnie's making a few admissions.
Hot on the television was ER, Friends, Frasier, tossed salad and scrambled eggs.
We're coming again.
Ooh, what? New York PD Blue, Veronica's Closet, which I don't really remember that one.
No.
Jessie, I don't remember that one either.
Isn't that a spinoff of Full House?
Is it?
I think that's Uncle Jesse, yeah.
Let's take a look. Jessie, 90s TV.
Well, clearly it didn't reach the same levels of viewership.
With Christina Applegate, a single mother tries to find love again with her new boyfriend, Diego, of whom her father disapproves. So no, it's not a
Then I'm
spinoff.
completely wrong.
Yes, 100% wrong.
Yeah, that sounds like a winner.
Whatever happened to predictability? Sorry.
Touched by an Angel, which I'm not going to go into.
God.
Home Improvement, and Everybody Loves Raymond. Hot at the theaters was The Truman Show, which I've never seen that movie.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Oh, you got to watch that. You guys got to watch that movie.
I've heard good things about it. It just, at the time, I loved Jim Carrey for his comedic antics, and this one seemed like it was a serious movie, and that's when I lost the actors that I love, like Tom Hanks. He was a comedic actor, and then he started doing serious stuff. Never went back to comedy.
Comedians as serious actors are so much better.
I know, but
Will Ferrell's serious movies are so much better. Adam Sandler's serious movies are so much better, and Jim Carrey serious movies so much better.
Robin Williams.
Yes, Robin Williams as well.
So, The Truman Show, X-Files the movie, Mulan, A Perfect Murder, 6 Days, 7 Nights, Hope Floats, Godzilla with Matthew Broderick.
Oh God, that was so bad.
Wow.
It was the horrible looking Godzilla monster. Yes. The soundtrack was not bad, actually.
Well, I remember P. Diddy, which I think at the time he was Puff Daddy, went off and created a song with Led Zeppelin's Kashmir in the background.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
And I remember people saying at the time, being like, "Oh man, I don't know who this Led Zeppelin is, but they're going to make it big now."
P. Diddy's going to take them all the way to the top. Dr. Dolittle, the combination of Armageddon and Deep Impact. Pick your poison.
Yeah, that's right. They came out the same freaking year.
Right.
They did. I saw Armageddon, not Deep Impact.
Oh, I saw them both. And between the two, I'm going to go Armageddon.
I could stay awake.
Except for the song.
To hear you breathing.
If you sing the song, I'm going to change my answer.
And one of my favorite movies of all time, Can't Hardly Wait.
Oh, yeah.
I have never seen it.
Oh my God. That's a movie we need to do for a patron night.
It's one of the, I think, less rated of like the 90s teen comedies, but it's solid.
It's very solid. And one of the first DVDs that I've ever owned.
DVDs.
Don't laugh at me. Hot at the arcades this month was Time Crisis 2, Metal Slug 2, Fighting Vipers 2, Sega Rally 2, Jesus, Guys, Virtual On 2, Rapid River, Hip Hop Mania, Hip Hop Anonymous.
He gets all the easy ones.
Fighting Bujitsu, Racing Jam, Samurai Showdown 64, Golden Tee 98, and California Speed. For the arcades that were supposed to be losing steam, that's a hell of a lineup right there.
It is, and yet none of it I really want to play.
Ooh, that's...
Metal Slug would like a word.
From the readers, the Sucky 64?
Oh, fighting words.
I wrote this article.
I am writing to express my concern for Nintendo. Although the Nintendo 64 is a great system, it lacks games that appeal to game pros. I consider myself to be a game pro and have yet to see a good game for the Nintendo 64. With the Zelda 64 coming out, Nintendo is getting a lot of hype from gamers and game pros alike. But if it's anything like the other N64 games, it's going to wither away and die. Nintendo needs better games like Resident Evil.
I want to hear more about the distinction between gamers and game pros.
That's the Chad that says, I'm a gamer because I play Warzone or I play this game.
Right, you're not a real gamer if.
Right, 100 hours a week, but you're playing this bubble popper game? Yeah, you're not a real gamer. Wash that mouth. First of all, I want to say your mag bags all the other rags. Now, on to the tongue lashing. Exactly, that's 90s hip-hop speak, whatever. What the beep is up with all this beep about Final Fantasy VII not coming out for the beep Nintendo 64? First I hear, of course, Final Fantasy VII is definitely coming to the N64. I'm thinking, doth mine ears deceiveth me? And how the beep did Sony, the root of all evil, get their grubby mitts on all the Street Fighter titles?
Wow. Root of all evil.
Right? I swear I want to take a hammer to their beep until they sing Moon River, but I won't stop there. I'll shut down the company. So my question is, how can I contact Nintendo of America for backup? Sony, the root of all evil? Are you
There's a
kidding
lot to
me?
unpack here.
I know.
Don't worry, kid. All you have to do is buy 26 cartridges. You'll be fine.
26 beeping cartridges.
In the video game news, EA pins down the WCW license after THQ let the franchise agreement expire. The planned Quake 2 mission pack turns into Quake 3. South Park the game is currently in development. Mom, bathroom! The Resident Evil toys arrive, and I collected these things. I had a bunch of them back in 1998, and oh my God, were these things amazing.
Do you still have them?
No, I
do
not. I sold those back in like the early 2000s.
Sold?
Yeah, I sold those and my Metal Gear Solid action figures, and I regret that to this day.
If you were a real gamer.
You must not be a pro gamer.
Right.
Oh, sorry, gamer pro.
I'm not a game
you must
pro.
Not be a
I'm
gamer
not a game
pro.
pro. Deer Hunter outsells Quake 2. Hasbro buys Atari's Legacy for $5 million in cash, and that's one thing that we talked about in one of our other episodes on the Gaming History 101. And Tekken 3 for the PlayStation gets 5s all around in each category of this month's Game Pro with graphics, sound, control, and fun factor. The games that were released this month are Banjo-Kazooie, Elemental Gearbolt, never heard of it, the X-Files game, which I see, X-Files movie, X-Files, the game, it's like Spaceballs, Shining Force 3, Off-Road Challenge, As Your Dreams, Burning Rangers, Symphony of the Night for the Sega Saturn, Mortal Kombat 4, Quest 64, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, and last but not least, let's not forget our friend. Let's forget him. Leisure Suit Larry's Casino.
Good old Larry.
All right, kids, thanks for hanging out with me this evening. This concludes our Retro Rewind for this month. I got a jet. These VHS tapes need to get back to Blockbuster by 8, or they're going to charge my parents' account. Crap, I forgot to rewind them.
Apparently you weren't being kind.
Nope.
Right. So then you sit in the car and like stick your fingers in there and like twist it a lot.
That's too much work.
But if you were desperate.
Yeah. Gotta save money.
It's like 1 minute to go. You're like, oh, I can get just a few more turns.
All right, let's go ahead and wrap up the show. Thank you for listening to episode 77 of Gamers Week podcast, and a big thank you to the Retro Game Club podcast, the Leadist podcast, and Love Retro BTW for sponsoring this episode. Don't forget to check out their links in the show notes. If you want to connect with Gamers Week, follow us on Twitter at GamersWeekPC, email us at gamersweekpodcast@gmail.com, watch us on Twitch at twitch.tv/GamersWeekPodcast, visit our merch store at gamers-week-podcast.creator-spring.com, or if you want to do it the easy way, follow the link in the show notes. Join us on Patreon at patreon.com/GamersWeek. And finally, since you made it all the way to the end of this episode, please leave us a rating and a review to let us know how we did. We really do value your feedback. And while you're there, consider subscribing on iTunes, Spotify, or your podcast platform of choice. That's it for us tonight. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
We love you.
Do we?
We like you.
We love you. We're just not in love with you.
Oh,
Ouch. That's worse. That's way worse. You should just never say anything.
Get to tweet out #friendzone by
Don't listen to them. We definitely love you.
All right. Yeah, sure.
if you say so.
Ryan's afraid of his feelings.
I'm non-committal. That's my favorite word.
Just want to see what my options are.
Play in the podcast field.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Welcome to Gamers Week Uncut.
Welcome to Gamers Week Uncut.
Welcome to Gamers Week Uncut, Patrons with Benefits. This is the unscripted, patron-only bonus cast with less editing and more dirty jokes. We don't know where the conversation will go, but we're sure it will be weird.
This fish just went right on my nipple, and I'm just like,
I Google Street Fighter 6. The first search result that comes up is people think they can see Ryu's in the Street Fighter 6 reveal.
Listen up here, kids. You're not going to want to get one of those VD-STDs things, right? Make you fall off. When you go, grab a pro. You'll be doing it for America.
that was perfect.
If you want to hear weekly episodes of our patron-only bonus cast, join us at patreon.com/gamersweek.